What's going on, summoners, and welcome back to another ProGuides Wild Rift video. My name is Kangas, and today we'll be going through everything that you need to know about controlling minion waves. Mastering minion wave manipulation is one of the most vital parts about becoming a high-rated player. So if you still have questions after this video, make sure to check out ProGuides.com and talk with one of our coaches who can explain it more in depth. For now, let's get straight into it.
A great thing about wave management is that once you get the hang of it, it just becomes second nature. Soon you'll find yourself able to limit what your opponent can do in lane, all while gaining huge gold leads for yourself. So let's start by learning some basic information about minions. The first thing you need to know about minion waves is that there are three kinds of lane minions in Wild Rift: caster minions, melee minions, and siege minions, referred to more commonly as cannon minions. Melee minions are healthy and stand at the front of the wave. Caster minions deal more damage, have long-range attacks, and stand behind the melee minions. Cannon minions, meanwhile, deal more damage and are very tanky. They also give the most gold. In Wild Rift, a minion wave will spawn from your nexus every 25 seconds, and each wave consists of 2 melee minions and 2 caster minions. In every third wave, one of the caster minions will be replaced with a cannon minion. The minions start spawning as soon as the game starts, and it's important to know that the minions' positions are mirrored on both sides of the map, meaning they spawn from each nexus at the exact same time, and will reach the center of the map at the same time as well. Now, this is very basic, but when a minion spawns, it will run down a lane in a straight line and begin attacking the first target it sees. A minion will continue hitting its target until it either dies, or you pull their aggro by auto-attacking an enemy champion nearby, or even hitting them with a targeted ability like Annie's Q. By adjusting the amount of damage you deal to both the wave and the enemy champions, you can alter the wave's position to your benefit. Now, let's get specific about wave management. There are 3 types of wave management: fast pushing, slow pushing, and freezing. Fast pushing and slow pushing are incredibly common, and you will be using both of these every single game. Freezing is more situational, and is a tactic used to starve your opponent of resources and create a slower game pace. Fast pushing is the easiest of the 3 options. Simply put, your goal is to kill all 4 of the enemy minions as fast as possible, so that they all die before the next wave arrives in lane, meaning that your minions reach the opponent's tower and you can do some damage. The hardest part of this tactic is knowing exactly when to use it. Now, there's a couple reasons why you'd want to fast push, the 3 most common being that you either want to recall, roam, or hit the tower. The reason that all 3 of these are enabled by fast pushing is that your opponent will be stuck under tower last hitting the minions and won't be able to stop your recall, match your roam, or trade back while you hit the tower. There's a few things you really want to watch out for when fast pushing a wave. The first one is that it leaves you incredibly susceptible to ganks from the enemy jungler. Using your abilities on the minion wave and being far up in the lane could put you in a situation where you're vulnerable to being attacked from behind, having too much distance to run back to your tower and no abilities to fight back with. So make sure that you're dropping your wards in the river or have knowledge of the enemy jungle location before you decide to push your wave. The second thing to watch out for when fast pushing is that if you don't manage to kill all 4 enemy minions before the next wave arrives, the minion waves will meet closer to the enemy's tower, which then means you'll have to overextend to farm the wave. This can result in your opponent even freezing the wave, which puts you at threat of being all in, as well as ganked by their jungler. The key to fast pushing is clearing all 4 minions as fast as you can while staying safe. If you do this, you'll trap your opponent under their tower and be able to do whatever you like. The next form of wave management is known as freezing. Freezing is where you position the wave in a spot where you can farm safely, while forcing your opponent to overextend for their farm, putting them in danger. Freezing can be used both offensively and defensively, and you want to implement a freeze for 3 main reasons. You want to farm safely because you're weaker than your opponent, you want to stay safe because you know the jungler is nearby, or you're strong and want to deny your opponent farm. Freezing is a great tactic if you know that your jungler will be in the area to capitalize on your overextended opponent. But be careful, when a wave is frozen, a player's natural response is usually to roam to another lane, so make sure you freeze wisely and ping your teammates if your laner goes missing. If your opponent does decide to roam while you freeze, your best tactic is to switch to a fast push. This way you can deny your opponent minions while getting damage on their tower. Freezing is best used in moderation. You want to freeze in order to build a lead or to get back in the game. Then, later begin pushing to assist your team. Now let's talk about how to freeze a lane. To freeze a lane, the wave needs to initially be pushing towards you. This usually happens in response to your opponent fast pushing the wave. Instead of letting the 4 minions crash into your tower, you want to take minion aggro while you wait for your next wave to arrive. This will result in the wave meeting just outside your tower. To maintain the freeze for multiple waves, your job is to clear just enough minions so that you have at least 2 enemy caster minions survive by the time your next wave comes. If you do this, you can freeze forever. While freezing is sometimes a great way to develop a lead, it's usually better to be proactive and use slow pushes to generate a lead while getting things done on the map. Slow pushing uses the same fundamental of freezing, controlling which way the wave will push, but instead of letting the wave push towards your tower, you want to push towards your opponent, just slowly. The difference between a fast push and a slow push is that with the slow push, you only want to be doing slightly more damage to the minion wave than your opponent. The end product being that instead of crashing just one wave into the opponent's tower, you crash multiple. This gives you 2 distinct advantages. By slow pushing a wave, you have the safety of a large minion wave, meaning that you'll win more trades and be less susceptible to ganks as you don't need to use abilities to push the wave. This also means that you can aggressively trade into your opponent, and they will be less inclined to fight back and take damage from all of your minions. The other advantage is that by crashing a bigger wave into the turret, you give yourself a larger timing window to do things like recall, roam, and hit the tower and poke. So, how do you slow push? The key is in the position of the wave. When minion waves are even in size, the side that the wave is closer to has a pushing advantage. This is because the next oncoming wave, referred to as a reinforcement wave, will arrive before the opponent's oncoming wave does, as theirs has further to walk. If the wave arrives first, it will start hitting first, and this small amount of extra damage is just enough to start a slow push. If minions are meeting in the middle of a wave, there are 2 ways that you can slow push still, either by guiding the wave into the enemy yourself by staying in lane, or by trimming it and leaving. To guide the wave into the opposing tower, as mentioned earlier, you just need to do slightly more damage to the wave than your opponent. And as long as you're stopping your opponent from clearing all of your minions, the wave will eventually slow push. This is best done by slow pushing 1 or 2 waves, and then fast pushing to guarantee the crash into the tower. To trim the wave and begin a slow push while you aren't present in the lane, you need to set up the wave so that you have slightly more minions alive than your opponent. In Wild Rift, this is done by killing the 2 enemy caster minions. If you do this, then by the time the next wave arrives, you will have begun a slow push that will continue long after you leave the lane. Slow pushing in the laning phase can be used to create a lead for you as an individual, but it becomes even more powerful in the mid game by allowing you to create a numbers advantage. This is best done in a side lane opposite to a neutral objective. So if a dragon is spawning in 1 minute, you can start a slow push top, building a big wave under the enemy tower. You can then roam down to dragon and make your opponent choose between catching this big wave or grouping with their team.
Well, that about wraps up everything you need to know about wave control on Wild Rift. By understanding these concepts and trying them out in your games, players of all levels will see their gameplay skyrocket. We really hope this video was helpful for all of you looking to start climbing the ranked ladder, and also for any of you who just need an extra few wins to climb up. Thanks so much for watching. If you liked the video, also make sure to subscribe because we got plenty more coming up. As always, best of luck on the Rift, stay hydrated, and wash your hands. That worked.